meeting record. So last week I sent out a meeting schedule poll. I hope that you have completed the poll and you have showed your availability. So let's see what's the, oh, actually we have, okay, now the result shows that we can probably change our meeting to Wednesday. And possibly, unless you guys don't have any. Well,
I have class on Wednesday. What time would we meet? Same time?
It will be the same, like the same time block. It will be from 4 to 5:50. Okay. Unless you have other meeting schedules in the same time. Okay. And I will send out an announcement later if we decided to move permanently the meeting schedule to Wednesday.
I have class that ends at 3:45 and another class that starts
because there were 3 sessions for the lecture part. No, actually 2 sessions and also 2 sessions for the lab part. And the other lab session also starts on Wednesday from 4 to 5:50, I believe so. So originally, our session was planned on Wednesday. But later, it was switched back to Tuesday and made as asynchronous. I believe so. So I assume the most of you would be free on Wednesday afternoon. That's what I assume.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So tomorrow we probably cannot meet, but hopefully we can move the meeting to Wednesday next week. And let me show you what we're supposed to complete today. I am opening the handout for this week's activity. Okay, I hope you have the handout ready and also the Excel program ready. Let me share my Excel. So let me ask you, is there questions or comments with last week's work?
No, no questions.
It's very basic, but the grading shows that a few of you did not have any experiences with spreadsheet, with the program, and you have experienced some difficulty completing the tasks. So the major difficulty was that you couldn't locate where the button is and how to input the formulas. So from now on, if you need help with the formulas, I can just put them in this instruction so that you don't have to worry about the content from the lecture. So are you, yes, this is visible. So this week we are trying to complete 5 tasks. Okay. The very first one of them, well, let me actually share both, not just a minute, let me reopen. So the very first task is to enter the data that you see from the left side. The data shows you Abercrombie and Fitch AF's annual net sale in 10 years. The data are from 2009 to 2018. Okay. So now I have a blank worksheet open. So what you would do is to enter all the data into the open spreadsheet. Let me ask you, okay, would you do the data inputting in rows or in columns?
Rows?
In rows. So you will do, say, 2009 in the first cell and 2010 in the second cell.
Oh, columns.
B2.
Okay.
Let me increase the size. Okay. Would you just do this?
What do you mean?
So it's the sequence of the data that you need to input.
Okay.
How you're going to enter the data into your spreadsheet. Well,
wouldn't it be columns?
Well, actually, the very first thing I recommend is to have a header. So a header would be what this data means. Right? Those data describing the year sequence. So if you decide to input all the data in rows, the very first one would be year. See that? And the second one would be the cells. And we can try to input all the cells here. Does this seems right to you?
Yeah, it seems right.
Okay. Any other comments?
Sorry. This is my first week of actually doing the virtual because I actually had the time to do it. I did it the opposite way where the years are in columns, and then would that be an issue?
That's the thing that we need to say discuss, or that we need to pay extra attention to, because usually we enter data, okay, not say horizontally. Usually we enter data vertically. And like you said, let me copy and paste the data. This is the common way of entering data. You see the bottom side? Because think about that. If we have more than 100 of them, we will see all the data down to the shape, not to the right side of it. Do you agree? So normally we do data entry like this. We put the number of data in columns and put not the number of data, the number of, say, features we need to input, the terms in columns, and the items in rows. Okay, let me delete the previous one. So this should be probably the recommended way to input data. Okay. And also how to use the autofill in spreadsheet. Presumably we have more than 10 years, right? And we can ask Excel to do it for us. The way Excel recognizes that you would like to ask for autofill is that you at least has to enter the two conservative cell. This cell can be in the same column or in the same row, but they have to be two adjacent cells. And indicating the pattern that you want. Okay, so now I do have the pattern here, 2009, 2010. I can select both cells and put your mouse over to the right bottom corner of it to see there's a cross sign. If you see the cross sign on your end, this cross sign is actually called a view handle. Okay, Excel knows you want it to do autofill. And if you can drag this sign down to the bottom, you will see Excel will presumably fill in like this. Okay, we can stop right here at 2018. But however, for the cells, it's no way that we can do autofill. So really, we need to enter all the data manually. Okay, next week, we will try to use other, next week, we will try to use other method to actually import data rather than manually type them in. Okay, I hope you are doing this with me.
Sorry, Miss Lee, quick question.
Yes.
Is this homework, what you're doing right now, part of something we have to turn in?
No, this is just activity showing you how to do
Got
those,
it.
say autofill, how to do the trends calculation.
Got it. Okay. I'm following along.
You don't have to turn it in, but this will be good references for your homeworks. The homework asks for those activities actually. So did you notice that I made a mistake right here? Let me open the application. For the years, I typed in the first year, 2009, into the very first cell. But however, since the data, the original data I downloaded from shows 2018 as the first cell. Do you see that? So when I try to input the data for next cells, I unfortunately type it in the opposite direction. How many of you actually did this with me and you did not notice that the sequence of data was wrong?
I noticed it at first, but I wasn't sure if you're copying exactly here.
Actually, you cannot copy all the data into a spreadsheet. It was in another direction. Okay.
No, yeah.
This was the result you will get. We will introduce some convenience way copying and pasting data into a spreadsheet, but not today. Okay. What if you did this wrong? Except for the manually, say, change position. Is there any way that you can realign this column? Okay.
I'm not sure how to do that.
You're not sure. So I can show you how to quickly adjust this one. What if I have another cell, and this cell starts from the most recent year to the last year? Okay. Let me enlarge it. And I can just copy and paste this data here. This is the sequence or from the original table. Do you see that? And no, there's no to them. Let me complete the rest of it. So what if your data actually is like this? Is there a way that you can make it right? We do normally put the most recent year at the bottom. Presumably, we enter those years. We renew those sheets every year, and those will be the last cell that we try to input, right? But what if you got the wrong sequence in the new spreadsheet? I do recommend that you can realign those cells. Let me introduce the button here. Do you see the sort button? You can actually resort the data, and you ask Excel to show the data that can sort from the smallest to the largest. Okay, and one thing, you can create a filter. From the filter, from the option for the filter, you can actually choose from the smallest to the largest. Okay, and we can use this cell for the later activity. You get this? Okay. The next step that I would like you to do is to format this column, the sales column. Since we know those numbers indicate net sales in thousands of dollars, we can just use the currency button over here, click on the currency. And now you should be able to see the dollar signs for each number. Next, since we are most interested to know how the trend goes across all the years, have you been introduced to the concept of trend? I believe it's by the end of chapter 1, you should be able to see the trend calculation in the lecture part.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
Yes.
great. So the trend is actually based on the data of 2 adjacent years. Let me create the header for the next column. Okay. We can just simply put trend. And in order to calculate the sales trend between 2009 and 2010, do we need to, okay, the first question is which cell that we are trying to say calculate or input now? The C2 or C3?
C3 first, and then it's subtracted by C2.
So now C3 would be where my answer goes,
Oh,
right? And C2 would be a cell that no data should be available here.
right.
C2 indicates the sales trend between 2008 and 2009. Since we don't have any data for 2008, there's no trend that we can calculate it here for the C2 cell. Okay. For C3, since we know it should be related with these two adjacent cells, we can just type in the equation. Okay. The equation sign first and use preferences. B3 indicates the cells for the current most recent year less the cells of the previous year, and we put this over the previous year's cells. This should be the formula you use to calculate the trend. Okay. Press enter and change the trend format to show as a percentage, and then increase the decimal places into 2 decimal places. Okay. Are you still with me? I believe this step, you're okay with it, right?
Yeah.
And let me do this autofill again. Since we know all the trend data will be calculated using the same formula, and we knew that our sales data and our yellow data are in sequence. So we can actually use the autofill function again, put our mouse over the bottom right corner of this C3 cell and drag it down to the last one. We can just double click the cell and double check the formula too. It seems all right. Another trick that I'm going to introduce is that we can actually, oh, it's my kids, sorry. Sorry about the noise. So let me enable the formula view. Okay. We can actually, let me enlarge the size. We can actually enable the formula view by going to the formulas tab and click on the button here, it show formulas. So now your view should be changed to the formula view like mine, and you should be able to track all formulas in this view. And we can actually toggle it back by click this button again. It will go back to the original view, the data view. I use this a lot when I try to grade your assignments. So that's why I'm asking you to double check your formulas too. Okay. Any questions with this one so far? So the next step we're trying to complete is the plot. We're trying to plot 2 charts here using the data. The first chart is the sales chart. The way that we work with charts, firstly is select all the cells that we are trying to plot from B2 to B11. Anyone need help with the multi-selection of the cells? The way that you can select multiple cells is you can just drag your mouse over, or you can do is click on the first cell, hold on the shift button on your keyboard, and click the last one. Okay, so that the shift button is quite handy in Excel. I hope you get used to it. Okay, and the next step would be click on the insert button. Let me enlarge it. And now you should be able to see all the objects that you can insert it to Excel. The chart occupies a panel. Today we are trying to insert a line chart. There are multiple line charts over here. Well, the ones that we try to use is the one with markers. Okay. Now you should be able to see something like this. Might be in a different color, but the look should be like this. Anyone need help with this one, this step? The next step, we are trying to format the chart. Okay. Although the current chart looks quite nice already, we need some refinement. Let me ask you, okay, how would you recommend me to improve the look of the table?
Add the headers like you have up there, year sales and trends, add them to the chart.
I need to edit the title. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I can change the title into net sales from 2009 to 2018. Okay, great. You noticed that we need a title for this chart. Anything else?
Do we need to label the Y and X axis?
I need some labels right here.
Right.
Currently, it shows me categorical data that's automatically generated from the cells, but not the ones I hope Excel would display. If I change the look of the label of the x-axis, I need to select data. Okay, open the select data panel. And here, we knew that the horizontal data is inputted here to the left side of it. We now see there are only one series of data. Okay. Click on the edit button. Okay. And we need a name for this series. The name would be net sales. You can actually type in, let me type in sales like this, or you can choose a cell. The cell would be, let me delete everything first. I can just click on the header, okay, and tell spreadsheet that I want the header to be the sales name. And we can double check the series values by click on the cell content and see if everything within the boundary is what we need. Click on OK. And for the horizontal or the categorical data, we also need to do the same thing. We need to edit the range by select the years and press enter. Okay, you will see it automatically changed to what we want here. Okay, and click on OK. And OK again. Now the data is all set. But I do recommend one more step. It is that when you see actually the vertical lines over here, you can't help but notice there are still 2 digits for all the numbers, right? We usually do not want those 2 digits here, 2 decimal places. So what we need to do is double click on the labels and we can edit the minimum, the maximum, the boundary, and we can edit the units too. Okay. But we don't care about boundary right now. There's only one set of the data, and it's pretty nice right now. Okay. What we need to actually edit is the number format. Okay, I am opening all the things that you can change, but the ones that we really need is the last one, the number format. We can change the decimal places from 2 to 0. Okay, and just press enter. Or we can actually show everything in thousands of dollars instead of the look we see. We can choose display units in thousands. And now the y-axial shows you all the numbers in thousands of dollars. It's a nice function to let you have a clean, good view of it while you're here. Okay. Any questions? You can change the look of later. Say you can ask for a different color. Okay, maybe I can change the color of the line, or we can change the color of the series. Say, let me change it to a yellow one. Okay. And maybe I can change the grid line. If I don't like the grid line, I can see no lines. Okay. And the second step is to create a trend chart. Also, we supposedly to use the line chart. So you can try it now to see if you can create a line chart on your own. Well, the first step, choose all the data, all the cells I want for this cell. Click on the Insert tab and find my chart here. Okay. The next step, well, I would like to change the categorical data into years. Okay. I am editing the axial label. Well, the thing that I would like you to pay extra attention is that for the years, the first year we are going to choose is 2010 instead of 2009. Press enter. Now we should have all the data ready, and we can enter the series name. And then we can rewrite the title, a sales chart. So you need some moment to work on this one. The next step is really important, and I hope you were done with the previous ones. before I introduce the next position of axis. Just let me know whether you are done with the second chart.
Sorry, Miss Lee, could you just show me really quick how you inserted a header to name sales trend?
Here?
Yeah.
So it should be automatically shown on your chart. If it's not, you can click on the Add Chart element and choose the chart title. Okay, and there should be some boxes automatically appear here. You can double click whatever it shows there, and just edit the title. So in case you need more elements for your chart, you can do add chart element and search for those, say, labels, arrow bars, legend, and lines, even one more trend line. You can do that.
Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
Are the numbers you're inputting in right now part of like a practice?
Yes, it's a practice one. So you don't have to actually have all the numbers right, as long as you have the numbers.
And then for the homework, we use the data sheet you gave us and do the calculations on those problems?
Yes, it will be similar tasks.
Okay, got it. So this one's just practice.
Just practice.
Okay,
so you don't have to submit that, and you don't have to have all the numbers right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So may I continue?
Yes.
Yes. How about Ashley? Let me ask.
Continue.
Who said yes? Robert? Maybe.
Yeah, I said yeah.
So the trick that I'm going to introduce is, do you notice the position of the axial label? They are kind of in between the chart, and we don't want that, right? The reason is that the data ranges from a minus number to a positive number. Whenever you have a negative range, say to a positive one, the axial tends to be in between the lines. What we need actually to do is to change the position of the labels by enabling the format panel. Okay. There are several buttons you can click from, but this is the label, right? We choose the, say, the chart options here, and we choose the labels because we are trying to change position of the labels. And we can ask Excel to show the labels in a high position or in a low position, or by default is next to axis. In this case, we really want it to be in a low position. You see that? Now you have a really clean, nice chart. Okay. And in case now you notice that the second chart does not have a, see this, markers. How about you would like to add those markers for the data? Okay. What you can do is to go to the chart design and change the chart type. You can change it to the line with markers. and click on OK. The settings you just did will remain, and we can also decrease, say, the number of decimals shown here. Let me change the number of decimal places to 0. Okay, that's it. So that's the most important task we introduced today. And we will use these skills to complete the second assignment. Lastly, what I would like to introduce is the cell references. So by default, let me show you the formula view. By default, when we're trying to input the data, the cell references that we use is
we
a
lost connection.
relative cell. Excuse me.
Professor, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Or see you.
How about now?
Yeah, it's working.
I was saying that by default, Excel shows us relative cell references. What do I mean by relative? Let's see when what the Excel gives me if I try to copy and paste one cell into a new position. Okay, for example, I would like to copy C11. Let me do Control C, and I want this cell to be, say,
I think the screen recording is.
I would like to paste the cell. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My Excel just crashed. Are you able to view
No,
my formula view?
No.
Let me start a new share. I don't know what happened. I just crashed. Let me start a new share. Is it showing on your end? I
No.
don't think so. Well, let's just use the handout. Then you have the handout at least with you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The handout shows you the definition of relative versus absolute references. Whenever you see the cell references with dollar signs, those could be absolute or combination references. How? When you try to copy that formula into a new cell, the position of the cells that the formula contains will not change if you use the absolute view, absolute reference. One example you can see is, do you still have the assignment 1 with you?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. You can open assignment 1 and see whether you used the absolute reference or just the relative references in your calculation.
For which one?
Do you notice any dollar signs over there when you try to calculate the percentages? We knew that by default, okay?
No, I don't have any dollar signs.
Net sales, the percentage of net sales is 100%. It equals to net sale over net sale, right? And when you calculate cost of goods sold in percentages, it's still COGS, cost of goods sold, over a net sale. So consistently, we use net sale to calculate the percentages, right? So as a result, we can actually use absolute references here to calculate cost of goods sold, gross margin, operating expenses, and profit or loss. When you actually refer to my key, the key doesn't have a formula. But if I can share my screen with you, you will see that I use all the absolute references to calculate operation expenses to calculate profit or loss. Okay, this one is really important. Not today, but we will go back to this again and again to force you to get familiar with absolute references. It's more convenient to calculate using this. Oh, it's coming back to you. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
This is what I mean by showing a absolute references. So this one, operating profit, I used B11 over B4. B4 is the cell that I do not want it to be moved whenever I try to copy and paste. Okay. If I say copy this cell and paste it into a new position, okay, the cell that actually changed should be B11, but B4 will not be changed. Okay. B16, B17, B12 will be changed in relative to the position of the new cell, but B4 will not be. Okay? Sorry about noise, that's my son. So that will be the last task I would like you to know. Any questions? I do have a link explaining more what is a relative cell and what is an absolute references. If you're still wondering and how to use those relative versus absolute references, you can read this, but we will go back to this again and again. Okay, that will be all the tasks for this week. Let me remind you that we have a weekly discussion and weekly assignment. For discussion, I've graded all the discussions that you have submitted. The major problem I see is that so many of you just think the assignment as the activity, but actually we have both in-class activities and also assignment. So I really hope that the review of the weekly discussion, okay, the review reflection part include both of them. And another thing is about the assignment. Several of you did not use formulas to complete your assignment. The way I track whether you should get the 4 points is to enable the formula view. I just introduced today in class, right? I will enable the formula view and track your formulas, not the numbers. So in case you got the previous number wrong because you got the wrong number to begin with, your points will not be deducted. But however, if you used the wrong formula, no matter whether your result, okay, the number is right or not, will still deduct your points from the 4 points. Okay, and I'm making myself clear enough.
Yes.
Okay. And this week, I actually provided you with a step-by-step tutorial. I basically completed all these activities on my own, and I uploaded this to YouTube. You can see it right now because I am not connected to YouTube, but you should be able to see it on your end. It could be a reflection of it, and I will upload our meeting video after a few hours. My computer needs a few hours to process the video, and I need to upload to YouTube too. So it will be here later today.
Will you be doing that for the other meetings too?
Let me increase my volume. Anyone have questions?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Will you be uploading the Zoom meetings for the other meetings as well?
For the first time?
Not for the first time, but for future ones.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
good. Thank you. That's helpful.
So that will be it for today. If you don't have questions, you can just leave.
Thank you, Professor.
That's my kid. Sorry. I will
Thanks,
be back in a minute.
Professor.
Are you still there? My son is in the bathroom and I need to be with him. For now, I will check that later, but I will stop the recording now.